still Graham. I still have a confession to make. I play video games. But fortunately I can do it professionally. And I'm hoping the slide will change now, because if not, then you're going to get really bored, because it was several times ago. Okay, I was fortunate enough today, and this is why it's all changed, to be a workshop, a very interesting workshop, where we talked about video games. And I was in the group talking about the disadvantages of video games. And I was surprised, well, not surprised, but this is the list, if you saw that very quickly, of disadvantages. So I'm going to go through these and try and tell you why I think they're wrong. So video games are not a waste of time. Believe me, if you play video games, you have more than one life. So, I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, everybody should want to play video games. The other thing is that they were accused of being addictive. And then everything really is addictive. I mean, wine is addictive, isn't it? TV, work can be addictive. I think everything in moderation is the best policy. And the other thing that wasn't mentioned, surprisingly enough, because I think this has now sort of gone off the agenda, video games can lead to violence in real life. And there are lots of cases where this seems to have been the case, but in reality, if you look behind the headlines at reports such as the one that was briefly mentioned below, then you find it's not true. Video games make you lazy. I think the image of the person sitting on the sofa in the bottom left-hand corner is typical. Anybody who has played a video game, I think you need to have a bag of crisps at your side to eat at the same time. But that doesn't have to be the case nowadays. Video games have changed a lot in sophistication. You have so many different things that you can see on the screen. In fact, you have more information than the player playing a game in real life now. You have more information than on TV. If you're a TV producer, you have more information. And problem solving is getting worse was another thing that was mentioned. But in fact, American football, the strategy and tactics has changed because of video games. The new players coming through who have spent hundreds of hours playing video games and American football games are actually changing the game on the field nowadays. Divorce from reality, that's a difficult one, isn't it? But as every gamer knows, reality is the worst game, or it can be. There was something else I was going to say about this, but I've forgotten. When it relates to real life, you have such a variety of games now. For example, if kids want to think about professions, they can play them first before they actually try them out. For example, you can try being a cheerleader or a makeup artist. You notice it's strange the kind of stereotypes still exist that these are the jobs that women should play. Games are also for anybody, any age. In fact, there's a sort of case of grannies now getting addicted to video games, as in the photo. I'm sure some of you know some with these little handheld consoles playing games. Of course, the isolation and alienation aspect of things. I think the idea of the person playing games in their bedroom is kind of gone away. People do play video games together. It's become a very social activity for a lot of people. And then there was another thing mentioned today, harmful to your eyes. I think video games can be harmful to your eyes, but so can watching TV, which I think is a lot older. The interesting thing about games like this L.A. Noire is that they're starting to approach cinema quality. And that game you have to actually, forget about it. Playing games is fattening, which is a bizarre thing that came up again today. Of course, sort of walking down the street and eating crisps is not fattening, is it? Or, reading is a very energetic activity, isn't it? We should all encourage our kids to read because of that. Hard to control was a difficult one. I wasn't sure whether that related to the gamers, the people playing games being hard to control, or the games themselves being hard to control. I think the solution is definitely to develop a remote control. Here are two examples, one for women and one for men. to control men or women. And then this is one that I obviously didn't finish. But yeah, what does all this relate to education? How does it relate to education? Well, I think I've become convinced that it's interesting to at least look at them as an option. And you may be thinking, oh no, please no. I've had so many other things to think about. Now that the computers come into the classroom, we have TVs and video, all this technology is coming to the classroom, what's going to happen? Well, fortunately, there are people out there like myself who are able to help. And this is why we have a blog and a book, which I'm plugging at the moment. But, well, you can't blame me, can you? Anyway, I think I'm coming to the end of this presentation. Just, there are other books out there. What I like is this person here, James Paul G., who's managed to sort of write all these books about using video games. The best one in the bottom right doesn't look like it should be about video games, does it? Situated language learning, plain cover, aimed at the academic who wouldn't pick up a book that said video games on it. Now, what I would like to do is offer a free copy of the book to the person that comes down to the stage first and tells me what the title of my Pecha Kucha is. First person with the mic.
Everything you thought you knew about video games. And it's wrong. It's wrong.
Thank you very much.